Probably, man, because that, man. Now, me and you both know that was our time to shine. People see you coming out, you coming in with your brothers, y'all looking good, sounding loud. That's something you and your LBs can remember forever. I don't care if you dead and gone, they gonna remember you. Like you remember number 5, yeah. You remember number 2, yeah. And that's something you can always hold dear, dear, dear.
What's up? What's up? What's good, everybody? Welcome to D9 and HBCU Conversations with DC, man. And today I have a very special guest joining me, Mr. Micah Blair. What's going on, brother?
Hey, what's going on? How y'all doing out there? Glad to be on.
Man, thank you for coming on. First of all, I know you're a busy man. You got a lot going on, so I definitely appreciate you for taking time out of your day to come sit with us over here at Historically Black Sense.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. I had to be on. That's for you, bro. I had to just get on.
Man, so, this is a show about HBCUs, D9s, and everything that you got going on. So I want to run down the line a minute.
All right, go ahead.
Miles College.
Yep.
Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated.
The great.
Blerdover LLC.
Yes, sir.
And a police officer. Is there anything else that you can add to that? Because you have a full list right here.
I think that's it right now. I think I kind of wear myself out with all that right there. You just read.
Okay, all right, man. Well, look, we're going to jump right into it. Miles College. I met you, of course, through Phi Beta Sigma, which we'll get into in a minute.
All right.
But Miles College, I attended a school in Alabama State University. HBCUs in itself are amazing to me. In my opinion, I won't let anyone tell me otherwise. Right. As far as yourself, I feel like HBCUs in Alabama are great. Now, how did you end up at Miles College in Birmingham? Because you have a few different colleges in Birmingham. How did you end up at Miles?
Well, man, it goes back because, Miles College is a CME kind of connected college. So CME stands for Christian Methodist Episcopal Church, and that's in St. John CME. And they had a speaker, Reverend Dean Beatty. He was over dean over student life at Miles College. He came and talked at our church one time, and he was saying all these great things that was going on at Miles College. And of course, me being like, I'm a mama's boy, and I was at that age. I'm gonna have to think about going to college, and didn't want to go too far from home, but I want to be at least a decent amount away. So I figured I looked into Miles College and I see the programs they got, and I chose Miles College.
Okay. Now a lot of people think that Birmingham is, the first thing people think about when I say Birmingham, they're like, well, yeah, where you from? Yada yada. I'm like, Alabama. Oh, okay. Well, we don't know too much about Alabama besides it being country and how is it. However, Birmingham is a little bit different than people, I think, perceive it to be.
Right.
So, as far as Birmingham to you, how was Birmingham? How was it just Birmingham in general? And I'll get back to Miles in a second.
Man, like you said, when people hear about Birmingham, of course, they're going to look at the negative and bad side of it because, we had First 48, all the killings and everything like that. But if you look deep down to it, Birmingham is like a beautiful city. This is where we had the riots, the Jim Crow laws was going on. We had Martin Luther King coming to the 16th Street Baptist Church. Had the 4 little girls that got bombed in the church. And, this is where like one of the stomping grounds of the civil rights. So it's a beautiful city. I think I just hate how people take and run with it and make it look bad, but Birmingham is actually it's a beautiful place to come.
Absolutely, man. So, first of all, what was your major at Miles?
Criminal justice.
Okay, so it does tie into what you're doing, in which I will, once again, which we'll go into that later, but it does tie into it. And a lot of people, they go into a major and it has absolutely nothing to do with their professional life currently.
Right.
So did you always, being that you said criminal justice, let me just go into a police officer, right?
Right.
You are a police officer.
Yes.
I don't want to sell it short by just saying police officer. I don't know if it's any other term that you want to use, officer of the law. I don't, I'm going to say police officer.
We could work with police officers. Yeah.
So did you always want to be a police officer? being a criminal justice major, or was it another facet of the law that you wanted to be a part of?
Oh man, this is if you got time for the story. So basically, I come from a long line of family members of law enforcement. My mom, she did 26 years with the Birmingham police officer. She retired as a lieutenant. My uncle did 26 years with Birmingham police officer. He retired as a lieutenant. Now he's working for the he's a detective for the DA at the county. My aunt, lieutenant for the county, she retired. My father was a magistrate, which is the person that make the laws and write the laws. So yeah. So law enforcement, law has been in my family. It was either a police officer or a lawyer. I don't like school that much, so I became an officer.
But you know what's crazy? I know a lot of people who are police officers now, right? And I feel like, man, I never. Okay, I saw videos of law enforcement officers being tased, going through the academy, the police academy.
Yeah,
bro, there's no way that I'm about to just let you tase me like that. I feel like that was the most. What was the most expensive part, or the most challenging part of becoming an officer? Was it that?
Oh man, that was just the tip of the iceberg, to be honest.
Really?
Yes, coming in, you got your instructors coming out, yelling at you 24/7, getting to your mind, playing these mental games. They just getting you prepared for the street because they coming out yelling, cussing at you, and it gets you ready because once you get on the streets, you never know how people are going to react to you. So it kind of mentally prepares you for that. And then you got to go into the history, and especially what's going on with law enforcement now. So we really had to deep down into the history because I became an officer in the city of Montgomery, Alabama, which is the capital of Alabama, and that's where I began my police officer journey with the city of Montgomery. And by Montgomery having that history that it has with the civil rights movement, they actually had to break down what was going on with law enforcement because it was at that time period where police brutality was coming up. Everything was officers was going wrong. So at that time, with nobody really being police officers, so we had to have many classes of how to handle people on the streets for what we see now.
Okay, wow. Yeah, I guess the tasing did kind of just scratch the surface barely.
Yeah. You got tasing, mace. I'd rather get tased again. To get mace.
Wow. Okay, that's an interesting fact. That we are. I guess. Hey, that's interesting. I'll leave it at that. That's very interesting. So, the narrative that's being painted right now, and not to get too political into this interview, but the narrative that's being painted towards police officers. What's your opinions on that? What do you have to say about that in particular? Because now I'm speaking to somebody on the inside. I'm on the outside looking in, really. And now somebody, sitting here having a conversation with someone who's on the inside. What are your thoughts about
it? Hey, it's a difficult time, especially being a black man that's an officer, especially what we've seen what took place in Memphis. It's really difficult because I became an officer just to help my community, to better the community, and to give a more better positive outlook of police officers for being a black man. So it's a difficult time right now, but every job you're gonna have some bad apples. And like they say, the old folks said, the good gotta suffer with the bad. Yeah. And that's a southern saying, but it's true. You have all these good officers out here. It won't be highlighted in the news because that's what society think officers are supposed to do. But the news and the media make like, oh, these officers doing this. We really gonna put that out there and make it seem like what's really going on with police officers. So it goes back to that saying, the good got to suffer with the bad, and I hate it, but we just got to be that positive light just to show people, no, that's not how we operate. Especially with my upbringing, how my family, how they taught me how to treat people. You treat people no matter what color they are, you treat them the same with respect. Unless they give you otherwise to treat them differently, you treat them with respect. Even though they cuss at you, spit on you, throw blood on you, urine, feces, everything you still gotta do. You still gotta uphold you still gotta uphold that vow you took becoming a law enforcement officer.
Man, you know what? It's a saying that we've all heard. It's something for everybody, right?
Right.
And you have to be cut out for whatever it is that you do, and I know I personally wouldn't be cut out for it. I don't think I have the patience for that. I would be fired, or I think me being a police officer would be a surefire way for me to get locked up myself. Because I'm gonna do something that's just so out of the guidelines of a police officer. But
right,
that's crazy, man. That's crazy. But you and all of the good ones out there, man, I commend y'all. For putting your life on the line every day, for just doing what you need to do, man. Once again, I said the good ones out there. I'm gonna make sure I emphasize that
please,
the good ones.
Put that in parentheses.
Everybody ain't handcuff happy. Some people want to help people, so
right.
I commend that. All right, so let's switch gears for a minute. Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated.
Yes.
Which I happen to be a part of as well.
Go Mob.
Go Mob. Did you choose Phi Beta Sigma, or did Phi Beta Sigma choose you?
That's that's a funny story because back then it was growing up, my father was a member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated.
Really? Okay.
And just seeing him, how he acted, how he treated people, I was kind of like, what, I'm gonna look more into that. And then just seeing what they do, I was like, okay, cool. And once I came to college, I started seeing. Growing up as a kid, only things I remember was Kappa Alpha Psi and Omega Psi Phi fraternity. I didn't know anything else about other fraternities. And this one I was like middle school. And the reason I learned about those two because of my father and my basketball coach. He was a member of Kappa Alpha Psi. So when I became a college, I started seeing, all these other ones on Alpha Phi Alpha, Phi Beta Sigma, Omega Psi Phi, Kappa Alpha Psi, Iota Phi Theta. Yeah. And then I just started looking at the principles, the history of each fraternity, what they believe in, what they like, what they do, and seeing how they act on the yard and on the campus of the college. And it was more what I saw about Phi Beta Sigma, which is the motto, cultures for service, service for humanity. And it only took three great men, which they was in school, to make a fraternity. I say, that's kind of like what I am. I want to give back to my community. I want to serve humanity by any way I can. And that motto right there, culture for service, service for humanity, stood out to me. And the principles of brotherhood, scholarship, and service. And that's what, every black man should be about, brotherhood, scholarship, and service. And Phi Beta Sigma stood out more to me. And my favorite color was blue. I was like, yeah, I definitely got to join.
Dope. Now, my question is, how did your dad take that when you decided to go Sigma?
My dad he sat me down. He said, son, you don't have to be an Omega. Whatever you choose it because you want to do it, not because what I am or what somebody force you to be. If this is what you want to do, I'm going to support you 100%, no matter what. And at the time, he was telling me some things about certain fraternities, and I was seeing things about certain fraternities. They kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I was kind of like, nah, I can't move like this. But what I ever saw the Sigmas, they was always doing something in the community. They was reading to the kids. They were giving back to the homeless. They was in food kitchens serving. They was giving coat drives, clothes drives, and doing so many great things in my community, which I always wanted to do.
So of course we have our motto. Outside of that, what's one of the biggest things that you learned becoming a Sigma, or that you learned since you've been in the organization?
What I learned, man, is
because of course, and when I say that, sorry to cut you off. Of course, we learn the motto, and we learn our stuff, and I'll leave it at that. But
right,
there's so much more outside of what's in that light, So right. Yeah, so I guess outside of that, what did you learn? What was the biggest thing that you learned?
The biggest thing I learned about being in Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated was like the history. That's hearing about these three young men that's doing it on their own. Being told no, but still finding ways to make it happen to support black men. Hearing the story, about our brother who's passed on, may he rest in peace, John Lewis, what he did, walking with
John Lewis.
Yeah, walking with Martin Luther King crossing, on the bridge for Bloody Sunday, and just making his, making that impact. And Because just seeing him and knowing that he was a part of the same fraternity I was gave me so much hope, so much pride because he came from a time where me and you, we can't even do this right now. How we talking on live right now? This, they can drink from the same water fountain. They can ride the bus. They can do certain things, and just seeing him, push through and doing what he doing to where we are now. That was kind of like mind blowing for me. And just meeting other great brothers, Huey P. Newton, the founder of the Black Panther, and seeing what he did, what he was doing. And that right there, that was pride in itself. Just having those two great brothers, which is there are more great brothers in this organization, but those two right there kind of stood out to me once I learned the history behind those two.
Dope, dope, dope. And I always ask that question to anyone who I interview because it's crazy. You would think that a lot of people would have cliche answers, but they don't. And everyone has a different answer that's tailored specifically for that individual. And I love hearing those stories, and I'm just like, okay, well, that's different. That's interesting, So that's definitely a great thing. So with Miles College, what did you learn at Miles College? First of all, what experience did you get at Miles College that you feel like you would have gotten at any PWI?
For being at Miles College, just meeting different people from that look like you coming from different backgrounds. People coming from Tuskegee, from California to Atlanta, and just learning each other's culture, heritage. Because from everybody that come from different states, they gonna bring their state with them, if that
Absolutely.
makes sense in a way. And just meeting people, going out, taking that step forward, meeting people, just talking to them, and you never seen each other in a day of your life, but y'all can make a connection and become lifelong friends. That was an awesome experience, and learning the history of Miles College, how Miles College was it played a very important role in the in the civil rights era, because that's where all the students would rally up and meet up and go to downtown Birmingham or to go to Kelly Park and do these protests, because it was all huddled up right there. And it was just a great experience just to be at a HBCU, and then it's kind of like a whole family reunion once you go back to homecoming, because you see everybody that you went to school with and see how they doing, and just having that reconnection.
Yeah, absolutely. And I tell people all the time, I feel like it's a family. I feel like HBCUs are a family.
Right.
I feel like it's a very, very intimate setting, and I feel like even you have a college, it's not as widespread as maybe a PWI. Although you have some HBCU campuses that are very big as well, but it's a family and it's very close knitted.
Right.
Yeah, it's very close knitted. So I totally agree with what you're saying 100%. Blerdover, right?
Mm-hmm.
The founder of Blerdover. Now, when I read about this, I did my research. It says a space where Black nerds can come together and show their love for anime, comics, cartoons, wrestling, and much more.
Right.
Now, how did you come about being the founder of Blerd? Because I didn't know, I had no idea that this was a thing. I've heard of anime, I've heard of wrestling, I know what cartoons are, I know what comics are, but I didn't know that it was a central location for lovers of all of these things. So now, how did that come about? Because now, I'm gonna be honest. Now we having a conversation. We having barbershop talk. Now I see you on. We've been following each other for a long time, Fred. Friends on Facebook, and I see you dressing up and stuff like that. But I had no idea what you were doing. I had no idea, and I know it wasn't Halloween. So I was just like, okay, I see you miming in church, which is great. I said, okay, I get that. I understand it. I didn't understand the rest of it. Now, how did you become the founder of this organization? It's very interesting.
Well, man, I mean, it goes back to my childhood, because everybody can tell you, I'm a big Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan. Shout out to my mom for making that happen.
Okay.
And then from there, if that's the passion, and I just grew up, just talking about it. Elementary school, we talk about Power Rangers, talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Transformers, et cetera, et cetera. Go to middle school, become a little old. We become a little bit older. Some things is not. We used to talk about elementary. It's not cool anymore. So every then, now I was labeled a nerd for talking about these things, and just became, I was getting bullied, getting harassed, getting picked on. That was the time. Also, I'll tell people the story that I actually had my head dunked in the toilet for being a nerd. Yeah,
Really?
yeah, that, yeah. And
Wow.
from that point on, I just felt down, felt defeated. So I had to change myself just to fit with the in crowd, talking about basketball, talking about women, what we gonna do when we make it, football, everything like that. That's to be accepted amongst everybody else. So
Yeah.
don't nobody want to get bullied. That's sucks.
Yeah.
Coming to high school, doing the same thing, and then I still had that love, I still had that passion for it, and once I hit college, I say, I'm just gonna do me. People gonna like me regardless or not, and just hearing other people's stories that are black, that loves the same things that I love, anime, manga, comics, video games, and hearing their stories. So I took it upon myself just to make an organization to base it off of black nerds, because that's what Blerd stands for, a black nerd. And I just took it upon myself to make an organization just to celebrate the black excellence inside the nerd community. Which what you saw, like you said, you saw me dressing up as certain characters. That is called cosplay, and cosplay is basically where you dress up as any of your favorite characters, from anime to video games to books you're reading, etc. And from there, I just wanted to interview people who was like me, who have been bullied, picked on, talk about for liking these things, even from childhood to adulthood, and just to let them know that they are not the only ones out there in the community. Black people could do so much. Black people can do so much more than playing basketball, being rappers. Watching. Being showing our true self on. Hollywood TV or everything like that. But there's the other side to black people that they don't know, that we can actually exist in, and that's being a nerd.
I will say, man. First of all, that once again that's interesting. I think that's first of all what you did. Well, what you did, you kind of turned your story into something big, something bigger than you, of being picked, the whole being picked on thing, the being dunked in the toilet, bullied, and that's something that I think a lot of kids really need, because I think I'm one of the only people in the world who doesn't really find too much, I guess, weird. I joke sometimes. My friends be like, "Man, that boy weird," but it's not weird in the sense of
Right.
what we think weird is. It's just like me playing amongst people who I personally know. But real life weird, I don't find too much weird, because we are different people in our own unique ways. Each individual,
Exactly.
it's a group of people who can relate to something in the world everywhere. So honestly, man, my thing is, that's what you're doing is something, like you said, it stems from childhood. We all have had a childhood, so who's to say you can't like the same things when you get older? I don't know whoever made that rule. I don't see anybody who made that rule. I know a lot of grown people who watch wrestling right now. I still watch wrestling sometimes. Whenever I had the time to do it, I don't see how anime and anything is any different from people going to see Marvel movies as well. That, because I feel like that's still in your Marvel DC comics. I feel like that's still a part of it. If you like that, how can you shame a person for dressing up as, or whatever the case may be? But I definitely think that's a great organization that you have. And once again, man, I think people need something to let them know that they are accepted, and they don't have to feel ashamed about what it is that they like. And no matter what it is, like to me, nerds, if you want to call yourself a nerd, I don't like that term, but if you're a nerd, as they call it, I don't see nothing bad about that. I think that's a great thing. I've always heard, I've heard a lot of stories, even when I was growing up, a lot of people that, they got picked on, that was the nerds or whatever. They ended up being the bosses of other people who was picking on them back in the day. And I come from, a small town, but I think that's very, very amazing. It's very dope, man. So real quick, what is your favorite character?
What's my favorite character? You gotta pick which one. I got 1,000, so you gotta be like Marvel.
Give me your top 4.
My top 4. Okay, I'm gonna have to go with Gambit from X-Men. I'm gonna have to go with Goku. I'm gonna have to go with Meliodas. I'm gonna have to go with Raphael. Oh no, I'm sorry, Michelangelo and Iron Man.
That's a hell of a list there. That's a hell of a list. That's a hell of a list. So, since you've actually started this organization, has there been any kids or anyone for that matter that's come to you like, yo, I'm glad that you did this? I'm glad. Like, is there anyone that you really saw change in?
Bro, it's funny you should say that, man, because we just had an event. Comic Con is a big anime convention here in Birmingham.
I've heard of that. Yeah, I've heard of it.
We at these, you can go around, people dress up, you go to vendors, and you have panels. And we had a panel, and the panel was called Blerding Out. It was just like the game show Wilding Out, but we took it and put some nerd, some nerd flavor to it. So we hosted it and everything. And bro, I kid you not, the picture is on my page right now on the Facebook page. That room was filled to capacity. It was standing room only, black and white people. And from one of my members told me, she was trying to get in, she couldn't come in, but there was still a long line wrapped around the corner trying to come into our panel. And afterwards, man, you have people coming and say, bro, thank you. This is something that black people really need, that has been bullied and harassed and picked on. Have people come to the table and say, man, I never thought I'll see today. I see a black person at a convention with an organization supporting black nerds. So whatever you're doing, keep doing what you're doing. And man, it has been a blessing just to do this, and just to have those people that I'll never know come up to me and say these things, because it's to the point where now people are actually trying to get rich and famous off of this. I've never been about that. I always been for the people, which our fraternity is for the people. It's the people's frat. And I always been for the people. And, just the little simple thank yous, or just keep doing what you're doing. Thank you for bringing this to the community. That's all I need at the end of the day. So it has been a lot of thank yous and tear jerking stories just to hear. But it has been a beautiful experience, and I love that I did this, and God gave me this idea. So I'll shout out to him.
Hey, you can't deny that. You can't deny that. Anytime God gives you an idea, it's there for a reason. And like you said earlier, I will agree. We need to see that it's more than playing basketball. It's more than being a rapper. It's more than everybody ain't gonna be a rapper. Everybody ain't gonna be. And I know I can be like, everybody is not going to be. Nah, everybody ain't. I'm gonna be country. I'm gonna be Alabama today. Everybody ain't gonna be no rapper. Everybody ain't gonna go to the NBA, the NFL, none of that, right? So,
right.
I think it's good that you're broadening that range of things for people to see. Like, nah, this ain't all you can do. And like you said, this might not be your path, but it's money that can be made from that as well. So.
Right.
It's like, yeah, you might not go to the NBA, but you can make a great deal of money from this right here, which is what you love. If you truly love it, why not? If you have an opportunity to make money, make it because you truly love it. You're not just in it because it's a cash cow. So right. I think it's amazing, man. I think it's amazing, and like I said, continue to just help people and continue to grow with that. And granted, you've embraced it, but for anyone who's going to see this interview, don't think anything that you're doing is weird, man. You are you. You are you for a reason. If you want to be weird, then you be as we call it, weird. I'm gonna say weird. You be the weirdest person you can be. How about that? So if that's what we want to call it. Okay, so I got a question for you. We're gonna go back to college real quick. I'm gonna give you two. I'm gonna give you two things, and I want you to kind of just pick one.
All right.
Step shows or probates. Pick the one that you like best.
Damn, that's a tough question. I say probate.
Probate. Okay. Iron Man or Michelangelo? Yeah, I'm making you think now.
Damn, Michelangelo.
Okay. Why? Well, hold on. Wait. So why Michelangelo?
Man, because I'm telling you, man, I'm a big Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan, and Michelangelo, he's that dude. He knows what's going on in life, but he always have fun in whatever situation. It could be serious, sad, but he always finds somewhere to make himself cheer up and make others laugh. And that's how I am. I like to make others laugh. I like to have a good time. People know me as being a silly dude. Michelangelo was a silly dude, so that's why I picked Michelangelo.
Okay. And let me go back to the first one. Why probate?
Probate, man, because that, man. Now me and you both know that was our time to shine. People see you coming out, you coming in with your brothers, y'all looking good, sounding loud, that's something you and your LBs can remember forever. I don't care if you dead and gone, they gonna remember you like you remember number 5. Yeah, you remember number 2. Yeah. And that's something you can always hold dear to you.
Absolutely. Okay, so freshman year or senior year?
Freshman year.
Really? Now why freshman year?
Oh man, I gotta be honest, all the parties and that's being on campus. You had a house bar, you had a house party, you had the club parties, you had the kickback. You just doing stuff on the yard with your friends, and freshman year. God,
Yeah, freshman year is something, man. It's a whole new world when you coming in, and it's just something totally different. So I totally
exactly.
understand it. I totally understand it. But like I said, man, I was gonna try to keep this at around 30 minutes to be respectful of your time. So what I do
Appreciate it.
want to say as well is, we're friends on Facebook, been friends on there for years, been following each other on social media. Every day I see you post something, and it makes me stop and think for a second. I take a second to myself. I see you posting just another day that the Lord has kept me.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important because no matter what you're doing in life, it'll make you stop and think like, wait a minute, I'm here another day, in my right mind.
Right.
With usage of my limbs, I'm speaking for myself. Thank God. And being protected with all of my needs supplied. So I see it. I want to let you know that, man, everybody's seeing everything, man. I know you put the blue and the black hearts, and I'm assuming it has something to do with the police, right?
Yeah,
You just like to put the
it
blue.
does.
Okay. All right. But
Yeah.
yeah, but those words can apply to anyone. So I definitely see that, and it's something that I feel like a lot more people probably stop on your page and be like, you know what? Thank you. Every time that they see that. Thank you, God.
Exactly,
So
man.
yeah, man. Like
Exactly.
I said, I really I see that. I definitely see it. So what else do you have coming up? Is there anything that you want to leave the people with? Tell the audience where they can find you at. Anything, the floor is yours right now.
All right. Let me hear. Baby boys, baby girls, what's going on with your boy SKIP.88 here from Blerdover, saying thank you to my boy DC for having me on this awesome interview. And remember, support HBCUs. Please support them. Support, support, support. But you can find us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We have some projects coming up. We have a Demon Slayer photo shoot that's going to be taken at Botanical Gardens. I have a documentary out. It's called Being a Blerd. You can search that on YouTube, and it's talk about my journey as being a black nerd and what I faced growing up as a kid to an adulthood now. So if you want to check that out, it's called Being a Blerd. It's on YouTube. Check us out, man. We make skits. We do interviews. We give back to the community. So yeah, that's it. I just want to tell how I leave people off. I always say WTW, and that stands for what's the word? And the word is UNITY. What does that spell? Unity, because this is how we gonna make it to life together as we unify and unite together. So thank y'all
Mm,
for checking it out. Keep supporting my boy, my brother DC, and man, just thank y'all. And just because you like anime, just because you cosplay, just because you like cartoons, play video games, that does not make you weird. That makes you different from everybody else.
mm,
Because who wants to be in a world that you blend in? God made
absolutely,
you to stand out. So you stand out. Well, God made you for a specific reason. You take that reason and you follow God, and you become your own person, and let the people see the light through you.
absolutely. It's not weird, man. Like you said, it's different. It's unique. It's unique. How people be out here using the word normalize. Now let's normalize uniqueness. Let's
Right.
normalize that. And
Big
also
fact.
they can donate to you as well, right? To your organization.
Yeah, they can donate if they want to donate. They can. That's
How can people
that's
donate to you?
I cash out, and like I tell people, the money does not go towards nothing but what Blerdover does. We did a underwear drive for a women's shelter, which is called First Light here, and
Mm,
we collected clean underwear for the women at that shelter to wear, because that's a story in itself. But it was heartbreaking just to hear one woman just to break down and cry because she couldn't get a decent pair of underwear to wear. And me and you got the luxury to go to Walmart, Family Dollar, or wherever to buy underwear 24/7. So
yeah,
those are little things that we don't. Those are little things that we take granted for, that some people are dying just to have.
yeah,
Toothpaste, socks, T-shirts,
yeah.
something like that. But you could send donations to the Blerdover Cash App, which is Blerdover 19. Cash App, the dollar sign Blerdover 19. You can hit me up on my personal page, which is Micah Blair, or the Blerdover page. And if you want some merch, just type in www.blerdoverllc.com. It'll take you to our page, and you can hit the merch and get any kind of merch you want. And that money as well goes towards any event or any community service projects we're doing in the city of Birmingham.
Okay. And I'm gonna end on this note as well. I said I was gonna end, but one more thing. What would you tell that young high school student who's on the fence of a PWI and a HBCU? What would you tell them if they're on the fence of like, I want to go here, but I want to go here? What would you tell them?
Historically Black college university. If you go to a HBCU, it would tell you the history and tell you the reason why that this Black college, Alabama State, Alabama A&M, Miles College, those colleges was made for a particular and very powerful reason. So learn your history, because HBCU is our history. So that's what I said. Go HBCU.
Man, hey, there you have it. Mr. Micah Blair, the founder of Blerd LLC himself. Man, I thank you for taking time out of your day once again, my brother, to join us.
Thank you, bro.
You have an open seat anytime. You got an open seat anytime, man. But yeah, like I said, I appreciate it. Y'all make sure y'all check him out. What's going on?
One more time. Blue fight.
You know.
Had to do it.
Oh man, we're gonna leave them with that. Thank y'all for tuning into another episode of Historically Black Sense, conversations about HBCUs and D9s with DC, man. Until the next time, we out.